The purpose of this tutorial is to give you an overview of the Test Results tab in Pearson Inform, which is one of the 5 available tabs at the top of a Pearson Inform account. What you see here is actually an Inform training account. None of the data or students listed in this tutorial or shown on this screen are real students within our district. All data is fictitious. As you can see here at the top, Pearson School District, all names are fictitious. The first thing I'd like to show you is some of the filters that are available in the Test Results tab. Starting from left to right, you can filter by year if you only want to see test results that appear within a given school year. Simply check or uncheck to filter by a particular school year. The next option that you have is to filter by session. What you can do is click on the top of the column to categorize all of the sessions together, or you can actually filter by some of the sessions listed below, by a particular quarter, month, term, or season. The third option that you have is to filter by test. Once again, by clicking on the top of the column, you can sort by tests that are named very similarly. Or if you'd like to search for specific keywords in the name of an assessment, simply type it into this search bar. And all of the assessments that have that keyword within it will appear listed below. You also have the ability to sort by test date. By simply clicking on this column, it will sort them according to the date that the test was administered to the students. The next column is the subject filter. You can sort by clicking on the top, or if you want to, you can actually sort by a particular subject. By checking on the box, it will sort all of the assessments that fall within that subject. You can also sort by score type or filter as well. Next, you'll see some colored bars that fall under columns that say below standard and above standard. This line defines the difference between students who are below on a particular assessment and those who met. You have 2 ways to view this data. First, you can view it here by primary proficiency levels, which is very specific levels. Or if you'd like to know a general above and below standard, you can check this box instead, and you'll see that the color bars below change. However, proficiency levels give you a more specific view of how your students performed in terms of below, meeting, exceeding, and so on and so forth. Hovering over any one of these colored bars, you can see how many students performed within that proficiency range. For example, by hovering over the orange portion of this bar, I can see that 22 out of 293 students were below, and that is approximately 7.5% of the students that were tested on this assessment. By clicking on that colored bar, a list of students who fell within that score range will populate. You can see their names, their ID numbers, their school and grade level, as well as their score in the colored space. What you can do is click on the top of this column to sort the scores from highest to lowest or lowest to highest. If you'd like to get back to the screen that listed all of the test results and assessments, simply come up to the top here and move over to the Test Results tab, bringing you back to this home screen. Now I can use the scroll bar and move further to the right and show you some of the other columns. Here you'll have a Tested Students column. By clicking on the number listed under the Tested Students column, this will show you all of the scores for the students who had this test administered to them, whether they met, below, or below exceeded, and so on and so forth. Once again, you can sort by scores to see them from highest to lowest or lowest to highest. Finally, the last column here with information is the Tested Skills column. By clicking on this number in the Tested Skills column, you can see all of the sub-skills that were on this particular assessment and a breakdown of those scores. Sometimes if data was imported improperly, you'll see something like this that says no data. But in most cases, you should see colored bars that you can drill down into. Now I'd like to show you a few more things that you can do with the Test Results tab. What you can do is actually compare multiple reports if you're interested in looking at various data at once. So for example, if I'm looking at only reading assessments right now, and I'm interested in seeing how 5th graders are doing, I can see here that the State Read 5th grade test is one assessment that was administered to 5th graders, and I can check the box next to this assessment. If I scroll down even further, I'll see here is another grade 5 reading assessment that was administered to the students in the same year. If I was interested in seeing how the students performed on both of these assessments, I could go down to the bottom where you see a drop-down menu that says Take Action on Selected. Now if I wanted to, I could go to Test Results by Students, and it will populate a list of the students who took one or both of these assessments. It will show their scores side by side so they can be compared. You can sort from lowest to highest or highest to lowest score by one of these assessments or both if you'd like to. To sort by both, you can hold down the Control key on your keyboard and click the second column. You'll see here by the arrows that the first column is being sorted from lowest to highest, and the second column is being sorted from highest to lowest. By holding down the Control key and clicking on the second column once again, it changes the order. And I can scroll down and see which students were below on both assessments and which students had made growth. If I wanted to, I can export this data to an Excel document, and I can do that by using this icon here in the upper right corner. Once I open this document, the same information displayed in Inform will now be available in an Excel spreadsheet, allowing me to sort and delete and add content and color the way I'd like. You also have the ability from here to select Student, and it will bring you right into the Students tab of Inform, where you can get a more specific breakdown on the performance of that particular student. You'll see their assessment profile, their AIP, and course grades will be displayed here. By simply clicking on the Test Results tab again, you can come back to the screen where you once were. If you'd like to, you can actually place students in groups and interventions from this page as well. For example, if I wanted to analyze the data for 2nd grade students who were below, I could populate a list by drilling down into that orange colored bar. Now if I knew by looking at this list that these students received a certain intervention, I could check the names of those students, go down to the Take Action on Selected button here at the bottom, and choose to add the students to a group. You'll see that a list of available groups is populated here. If I know, for example, that these students that I selected are both Assets students, I could check the GN Assets group right here and press Save. Once I do, it will say that my changes had been saved. If I click on the name of this student and look at their AIP, I should see that they are actually now members of that particular group within their group and intervention history window. Let's wait for this to load just to verify that the student was properly added to the group. Please note that if you add students to groups, that record is permanent and you cannot delete the student from a group. So be very careful if you are adding students to groups within Inform. Also, if I wanted to, from the Take Action on Selected menu, I could assign the students to an intervention. Once again, a list will populate of available interventions, and if I know that the students receive a particular intervention, I can select it, and at the bottom I can decide which tier of intervention it is, the frequency and the duration, and the entry date or the date that this intervention was first started with the student. And then I can save. Once this intervention is no longer being used with the student, a stop date can be added as well. Here at the top there are a few more icons. There's also the student search icon, which is a magnifying glass, and by clicking on this you can search the name of a particular student and find them a little more easily than if you were drilling down into bars and looking for students in an alphabetical list. By clicking on one of these names, it will bring you to the Students tab where you could see their AIP.